one of the most spectacular landscapes in the world, home to amazing wildlife and vegetation, outstanding World Heritage Site, and the charm of local and international tourists, the Semin Mountains National Park. Due to its gigantic mountains, the Semin Mountains National Park is often dubbed the Roof of Africa. It is located in the northern part of Ethiopia, some 870 kilometers from the capital Addis Ababa. Coupled with frequent mist, the eye-catching landscapes of the Semin Mountains National Park has the healing capacity for nature-loving individuals. The park was established in 1969. It encompasses an area of 412 square kilometers. The park ranged from 1,900 meters to 4,533 meters. Such altitudinal variation has given rise to a number of rare and endemic animals.
ሰሜን ሳይሆን ሰሜን ተራራዎች ብሔራዊ ፓርክ ነው መባል ያለበት። ይሄ እንግዲህ ከአጼ ቴዎድሮስ ንግስና ጋር ይያዛል።
The right name of the national park is Semin. It's not Semin as many people call. It is related to the coronation of Emperor Theodros. When Emperor Theodros went on to attack Dajjach Wubi, local community asked his kingship name at a place called Boait. The emperor responded that he will tell his kingship name when he arrives at Semin, meaning knows. So the name is given to the national park to honor the emperor.
The Semin Mountains National Park has 4 climatic conditions. Because of this, there are over 500 species of plants in the park, of which 3 are found only in the Semin Mountains National Park.
The park was established in 1969. 3 years later, it has got legal personality and published on Nagarit newspaper. The park was expanded 2 times. Due to this fact, currently the park is 412 square kilometers wide.
ቦታውን ከቶፖግራፊ አንፃር ስናየው ሰሜን ተራራዎች ብሔራዊ ፓርክ the roof of Africa ነው የሚባለው.
When we see it in terms of topography, Semin Mountains National Park is said to be a roof of Africa. 17 to 18 mountains are more than 4,000 meters high. There are 3 vegetation zones in the park. There are plant species that grow in the dry areas. There are also vegetations that grow between 3,000 to 4,000 meters high areas. Lastly, there are plant species that grow over 4,000 meters high.
The park is home to over 180 species of birds. It is also home to a number of rare animal species such as Gelada baboons, Ethiopian wolf, and Walia ibex.
It's got some of the last remaining Afro-alpine habitat in Africa remaining in the Simien Mountains, which has also allowed it to have some pretty unique species that you see here. The Walia ibex, which is only found in the Simien Mountains, and the Ethiopian wolf, which is the most endangered canid in the world and is only found in Ethiopia. So there's a real responsibility from Ethiopians and from the rest of the world to help protect what is here in the Simien Mountains. And the fact that, as the lady from UNESCO said, the Simien Mountains was one of 4 of the original natural heritage sites that were designated shows how special it is.
In 1978, the Simien Mountains National Park was inscribed as one of the world's natural heritage sites by UNESCO. It was mainly due to its biodiversity potential and amazing landscapes.
Ethiopia is very important for UNESCO because for a number of reasons. For culture, Ethiopia had 2 World Heritage Sites listed in 1978, together with other 10 list, altogether 12. And also Ethiopia has currently 9 cultural and natural heritage sites, the largest number in Africa.
የሰሜን ብሔራዊ ፓርክ በሚመዘገብበት ጊዜ ምዝገባ የተጀመረበት ዓመት ነበር።
The Simien Mountains National Park was registered exactly when UNESCO started registering World Heritage. Registering World Heritage began in 1978. At that time, it was only 12 heritages that were registered at global level. 3 of them are from Africa, and of which 2 were from Ethiopia. It was registered fulfilling the criteria of being outstanding universal value.
The park was added to the UNESCO's endangered list for the last 21 years due to the conflicts and human-made problems in the country.
ሰሜን ተራሮች ፓርክ ያለፉት ዓመታት በዩኔስኮ የአደጋ ዝርዝር መዝገብ ውስጥ ገብቶ ነበር።
The Simien Mountains National Park was added to the list of World Heritage Endangered Sites over the past years. It was mainly due to illegal settlement of local community, prohibited animal grazing, serious declining of wildlife population, and the construction of road that crossed the park.
በኢንዴንጀር ሊስት ውስጥ ቅርሶች የሚመዘገቡት ለመሰረዝ ሳይሆን
Heritages are registered in the endangered list to reverse them to their previous status. It is not to remove them from the heritage list. It is a warning. If a country in which the heritage is found is not willing to reverse the situation, it might be removed from the list of tangible heritage. There are heritages which have been removed in the world. One is in Germany and the other is in Kuwait. This shows that heritage could be removed due to human or natural problems.
With outstanding efforts exerted by the government, stakeholders and development partners over the last 21 years, the park was removed from UNESCO's endangered list. In connection with this, the 50 years founding anniversary of the park was celebrated at Debark town of the Amhara state.
The Simien Mountains National Park is no longer on the World Heritage Site endangered list. Congratulations to everybody who's allowed that to happen.
On the occasion, the chief of the Amhara state, Gedun Dargacho, said a lot of works have been done to fulfill the criteria set by UNESCO to remove the park from its endangered list.
Notable results have been registered in reducing high impact of grazing. The need of local community and wildlife were taken into account in the process. Until now, 606 households were settled out of the national park on a voluntary basis. The government and development partners have provided all necessary supports to them so that they could lead a better life. Especially 418 households who had lived in Gijit locality within the park area have been resettled in Dabark town voluntarily with the follow-up of the federal and state governments in collaboration with development partners. In line with the law, the government has paid compensation for those people. Social services were fulfilled for them. To ensure their life in a sustainable way, life improvement method is under study.
And here in Simien Mountains, we have supported the park system and the conservation of flora and fauna for the past 8 years. UNDP's efforts in the area of biodiversity and ecosystems, they aim to ensure that the real value of biodiversity and those ecosystems to society are recognized and valued. And so that is in relation to securing livelihoods, food, water and health, resilience and conservation of the threatened species and their habitats, and also what we call carbon storage and sequestration, that is about mitigation of climate change impact.
UNESCO ያስቀመጣቸው መስፈርቶች አሉ.
To remove the park from endangered list, UNESCO has put criteria and preconditions. The first one is expanding territory of the park. It was only 136 square kilometers in the past. Expanding the park in threefold, convincing local community was a great success, as there are scarcities of land in the area. The contribution of the Austrian development cooperation was very high in this regard. The set preconditions were very difficult. They demand convincing the people. Considering the extraordinary efforts of the Ethiopian people and government in restoring the previous status of the park, UNESCO excluded the heritage from the endangered list on the 41st summit of World Heritage Committee held in Poland, Krakow. The Ethiopian government invested not only a time but also a huge sum of money for the success.
ትልቁ ስራ የተሰራው እዚህ ፓርክ ውስጥ ሰፍረው የነበሩ ነዋሪዎችን
The major work we have done here is that the government has allocated huge amount of money to resettle the people who had been living in the park area. The federal government allocated close to 158 million birr, while the Amhara state government provided them a land free of lease at Dabark town and transportation cost. The road which crosses the park was also closed and new alternative road was opened out of the park area. As a result, the number of wildlife in the park are increasing, including antelopes, chelada baboons and others.
.606 households who used to live in the park area were resettled in other places. 418 households from Gija locality were also resettled at Dabark town. But they reported they don't have sufficient social services at their new destination.
The government told us that the park is a world heritage and a source of income. They requested us to leave the park area and it will be expanded. We were also informed that the land will be given to us in other place. Of course, they gave us land free of lease, but we have the shortage of water and electricity services. The government has to provide us necessary supports on such services.
ድጋፍ የሚያደርጉ ፕሮጀክቶች ተቀርጸው
Employment creation projects were designed and under implementation to support local community, but they are not enough. More has to be done in this regard. It is a major challenge in the future as well. Actually, the problem is not only limited to this park. It is a challenge in other parks of the country too. We need to work on how to improve the relationship between the park and the surrounding community. The local people should benefit from the park in a way it cannot hurt the very existence of this natural heritage. We are working to keep that balance. Of course, it requires startup budget to ensure sustainable tourism development. To protect biodiversity of the park, we are undertaking various studies.
The park has been attracting large number of tourists from across the globe from time to time. In the last Ethiopian budget year, 26,000 tourists have visited the park. Local community is the first beneficiary from such inflow of tourists.
It is already removed from the endangered list. Now our role is to maintain it as off the endangered list. So we convene the donors meeting, stakeholders meeting as UNESCO. We also provide technical support and assistance to the stakeholders. We really would like to continue working with the communities which have done wonderful work and in enlisting from the endangered list.
We will facilitate alternative life improvement method for the people who resettled living the park area. There are still high numbers of human and livestock population who live in the surrounding area, so we need to work vigorously in improving the livelihood of local community, increasing their participation and protecting the park in a sustainable manner. Those are the major works we do extensively in the future.